everybody. Well, today I need to crank this thing up. It's been well over a year since it's been cranked up, and I need to change the coolant, so I'd like to get it hot and drain the coolant and put some new coolant in, because the engine has been rebuilt and I don't want to blow the head gasket from corrosion or whatever. Or the radiator also is, if it's not original, it's darn close to original, and it is in perfect shape, or it was last time I put coolant in it, which was about 7 years ago. So let's get into it. The other day I went and bought this new ignition coil from Napa, because I hadn't raised the hood and I thought I had stolen this for my tractor. But apparently I have already bought a replacement for the one I burned up. It was a 6 volt coil, and yeah, I let the smoke out of that pretty good. It's got points. This distributor, I believe, is the original to the car, but the cap is from an industrial motor. I had to modify it a little bit so that it will work, because the center lead just was passing nothing through it, and the rotor was bad as well. Got external oil filter, and the bracket is what dictated the mounting position. I know that's going to be a mess when I go to change the filter, but you know, be that as it may. Let's see what the oil stick says. It's kind of black. It's been running rich, so I've driven it a grand total of 1 mile since I rebuilt it, and it has been sitting for 7 years. You know, life has just crept up on me, let's say. So anyway, I'm probably gonna have to take at least the top there off, and I'm gonna have to hook this bad boy up, because the fuel pump has finally failed on this thing. Let's see. You can't really see it, but it is the original. Well, it's the one that came on the bad motor in the car. So we'll see what happens. Well, actually, I know what happens. That one down there does not work. Let's see what the coolant says here, if I can get the cap off. Looks kind of crummy. And it's down. Uh-oh. Hope that's not an indication of things to come. It is, I mean, obviously no pressure cap at all. Alright, so rather than carry this battery to where I'm working on the Chrysler, I'm going to go ahead and crank the dually up and drive it over there, and then I'll have to carry it, 50 feet instead of 1,000 feet. So to me, that's a win. Alright, the grid heater doesn't work because of ECU issues, and it's been about 2 weeks since I fired this thing up, but it's like 70 degrees out, so should start fine. Here we go. Okay, so I got my NHRA nitro tank and my Super Duty fuel pump hooked up. Original fuel line routed outside the car. Got my hot sauce, and of course I put some two-stroke oil in the gasoline there. I already primed the pump, and the carburetor immediately started leaking, which apparently is normal on these old ball and ball carburetors. So let's see. I got my 1970s CDI ignition box. Got the coil hooked up. I know this is positive ground, but I have it hooked up negative ground because all the wiring is just shot. All the cloth is off, and generator is not connected, etc., etc. Let's see how this goes. I mean, hopefully it'll start right up, but it may not. I may have to give it the patented Mortsky flick on the points. Alright, I'm going to engage the choke. Let me go ahead and turn on the fuel pump. Alright, slingshot engaged. Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. Well, let's see what's wrong now. Let's go inside and see what's happening in here. So we got, let's say 58 psi, maybe 60. No, 58. Temp is less than 100. No, actually it's already coming up. Nice. Yeah, none of that is connected, so This door panel's been off since before I was born. You can see perhaps why. I have the dash pad, but it is currently not on, and the steering wheel is crumbling. I really would like to redo that, because this is going to be awful to drive like that, but you know. It's amazing how quiet this is. Never mind the lack of exhaust, but there's no tappet noise, no rod noise. Thing just wants to run. She is thirsty though. Okay, so we've been running about maybe 20 minutes. It's sucked down maybe 3/4 of a gallon or a little bit less. Let's see what the oil pressure says and the temperature. Oil pressure is at 42, let's say, and temperature is at 158. Alright, so I'm back here again today on the 49 Chrysler, and a bunch of stuff, rust, came out of the radiator when I drained it yesterday. A lot of sediment. I'm glad I did this. I've opened the petcock on the block, and I've put probably about 4 gallons of water through it, just tap water, just to get as much out as I can. And I've got this Blue Devil radiator flush, and I'm going to put that in and run it about half an hour, and then drain it all out, and then put new coolant back in. I didn't feel like it would be thorough enough if I had just drained it and put new coolant in it, because there would still be a bunch of rust in there. So I'm going to try and do the right thing and preserve this engine, because someday I really would like to drive this car more than a mile. I did rebuild it, and I put new kingpins and all the new suspension parts on the front, and new brakes, which are wrong. I'm going to have to get some proper brakes from Andy Birnbaum in, I think he's in Massachusetts or Connecticut, but I got these brakes from, I think, Coker Tire. They're wrong. They're just wrong. They're new, but they're wrong. Another thing about Andy Birnbaum in New England, because I'm not sure which state he's in. It's been so long. He has all sorts of old Mopar parts that are like reman or new old stock, perhaps. I think his website is called oldmoparts.com. I got a carburetor rebuild kit from him. I got a set of cam bearings. He provided new rings, new old stock rings for this engine, because the ones I took apart the engine, it was supposedly rebuilt, which, you know, sort of jived, but a couple of the rings didn't suit my expectations. They were kind of grabbing the lands. But yeah, that guy, yeah, he can provide you proper old Mopar parts. It'd be funny if this was just vinegar. Slingshot engaged. Okay, I'm sure you hear the rattling, but that's because the bottom of the fenders are not bolted. I actually did put a slant 6 carburetor on here and it ran perfectly, but you know, this thing, it has a fluid drive, so this carburetor has a solenoid on it to make it shift from underdrive to 1-to-1. Chrysler, there we go, fluid drive. I need this for sure. But yeah, I mean, that darn thing runs amazing, really. I mean, just listen to how quiet this thing is. Great. I don't think I'm gonna find that. Well, that was stupid. Alright, so she's been running about 20-25 minutes. I think it's the octagon key here. See what the oil pressure and the temperature says. Solid 42, 160. And that is original miles. 91,248. And the speedometer does work, as well as the odometer. Ever since I was a little baby, 3 years old, I've wanted to drive this car, and I will drive it someday. Georgia stopped state inspection in '82, I believe. Might have been '83, but I think it was '82. But this is the last time this car was inspected, and it's been off the road since '79. 1 gallon an hour. I revved it up many times. Let's see what the temperature is. It's a little over maybe 170, something like that. I think the thermostat is 160. Anyway, now I'm going to go ahead and drain the radiator flush stuff out and wait till it cools, and then I'm going to put some Walmart crap in it with distilled water so I can let it sit, and not worry about corrosion for a couple more years. In the comments below, what modern engine is going to run after 68 years. So, thank you for watching, and please subscribe, because I'm trying to get to at least 1,000 subscribers. So, anyway, thank you.